Morning. Welcome to Gimpy's History Corner. I'm called Gimpy by my two grandsons, Archie and Ellis. Here they are with their dad, the Andy Schomburg Band. My son Andy's a busy and talented and very good musician. Plays guitar, sings, plays the harmonica. You get a chance to hear him, go to his shows. He does a great job. Okay, this is video number 42 of Gimpy's History Corner, and it's on what I think is the greatest American architect, Frank Lloyd Wright. And I picked this book up at a bookstore at one of his houses he designed, written by Paul Hendrickson, and it's called Plagued by Fire. As you're going to see, some of the more tragic parts of his life were his houses burning down and other terrible things going on. The Dreams and Furies of Frank Lloyd Wright. Okay, where did he live? He was born June 8th, 1867 in Richland Center, Wisconsin. His mother was Anna Lloyd Jones. That's where the Lloyd comes from for his name. She was a school teacher from a Welsh farming family. And his father was William Wright, a preacher and a musician. And because he was a preacher, they moved around quite a bit. As Frank was growing up, he lived in Wisconsin, Iowa, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. By the time he was in high school, he was back in Wisconsin, attended Madison High School, and then the University of Wisconsin-Madison, studying civil engineering. He never really graduated from high school, but somehow got into the college as a special student. And I don't think he earned his degree either. He left college early, went to Chicago, became a draftsman, which is part of architecture, drawing out the plans. He joined a firm of Adler and Sullivan. And Sullivan became his first mentor as an architect. He called Sullivan his beloved master. In 1893, Frank Lloyd Wright opened his own studio at Oak Park, Illinois, near Chicago, and developed the prairie style of designing houses. And what made up the prairie style? Well, it had horizontal lines and flat roofs, open floor plans, integration with the landscape, and use of natural materials. He used brick, wood, and concrete mostly, and stone, a lot of stone. Key works early on were the Winslow House. 1893 was his first independent commission. The Roby House, 1909, and the Unity Temple in 1908, all around Chicago. He designed and built his own home and studio in Spring Green, Wisconsin, called Taliesin. And because he built another one of these, this is called Taliesin 1. His houses and studios were given names, like a mythological creature of some kind. They're either named after the person who paid him to design it, like the Roby House, or a mystical name like Taliesin. So in 1914, he had left his wife and family to go off and hook up with one of his clients and neighbors in Chicago. And it was all over the news, big scandal. What a horrible thing. A guy left his wife and kids. She left her husband and kids, and they just went off. True love, I guess. So in 1914, he had built Taliesin at Spring Green, Wisconsin, and hired people to help with the maintenance of the house and cooking and so forth. And one of those was a African-American young man named Julian Carleton. So one day when Frank Lloyd Wright was off doing business elsewhere, Julian Carleton set fire to the house, and with a knife and axe, he killed everyone in the house, women and children. Unbelievable. It was a horrible massacre. I think I have a picture of him in here I can show you. There's a newspaper article with a picture of the guy. He was just a lunatic. I think they put him in a mental hospital. Julian Carleton, August 1914. So, I don't know what happened. That was a terrible tragedy. Taliesin was burned down. His live-in girlfriend killed, and her kids were killed. But he did not go back to his wife. He ended up getting married 2 more times to other women. So he rebuilt Taliesin 1, and his other big job was the Imperial Hotel in Tokyo, 1923, and he adopted many Japanese design characteristics, and the Japanese influenced his design the rest of his life. During the Depression, he developed something called Usonian homes for the middle class. These were not big, elaborate homes like he'd been doing in Chicago. These were small ranch homes for the most part. Affordable, efficient, harmonious with nature. Flat roofs, radiant heat. They had concrete floors with radiant heat built in. Carports, he didn't like garages, so only built carports. No downspouts, he didn't like those. And a modular design. So each section of the house was a module, and he just hooked them all together. And I've been to many of these. There's one in Lafayette, Indiana, near Purdue University I've been to. There's a more elaborate one in Springfield, Ohio I've been to, where I bought this book. There are whole developments. There's one in Worthington, Ohio that was developed by one of his proteges. I've been to southwestern Pennsylvania, see falling water, and there's an area there that has a lot of his homes back in the woods. Very pretty. All right, Falling Water was one of his most famous family home he built, southwestern Pennsylvania, for the Kaufman family, who were owners of department stores in Pittsburgh. He finished that in 1935. It's where he had the cantilevers, the big decks, concrete decks built out over the water. They built the house right on top of the waterfall. That's why it's called Falling Water. Beautiful. I went there this summer, and it was unbelievably packed with people. People love to go to Frank Lloyd Wright homes. And I ran into people who've been all over the country checking out his homes he's designed all over the country. Very popular. Later works was a Guggenheim Museum. This is my son Scott and his partner Casey standing in front of the museum. I was there a few years ago. You see the round design. That's what it looks like. Very unusual looking building, the Guggenheim Museum. Guggenheim was a famous Jewish art collector, had a huge art collection he wanted to display, so he asked Frank Lloyd Wright to build him a museum, I guess you'd call it, or art gallery. Price Tower was his only skyscraper in 1956, and the Beth Shalom Synagogue in 1954. He built a second studio out west in Scottsdale, Arizona called Taliesin II in 1937. And he started having fellowships, he called them. This were young architects who wanted to live with him and learn about his design style. And there are many pictures of him at a table doing some drawings, surrounded by a bunch of young men and women. They were called Taliesin Fellowships. They started in 1932. I assume he charged them. That's kind of how he made a living. He taught them organic architecture, or mid-century modernism it's called sometimes, Usonian, the small ranch homes, and a sustainable architecture. So one thing about Frank Lloyd Wright Usonian homes that I've been to, they all complain about the roof leaking because it's usually a flat roof, and they have to continually stop up all the leaks in the roof. His style is to enter the house with a condensed atmosphere. You walk in and the ceiling's really low, but then as soon as you go in, it opens up into a high ceiling and an open area. It's called condensing into expansiveness. A lot of built-in furniture, a lot of bookshelves, a lot of built-in tables. He would design all the furniture for the house if you paid him to do so. His kitchens were called workspaces, and they were small. And his bedrooms were back along a narrow hallway. And again, wood was the main wood paneling kind of situations from inside of the house. Lots of big windows. That's where he liked to bring the outside inside, outside in. So a lot of big windows. You could open those, get free air. He didn't have air conditioners on these homes built in the 50s and 60s. So I love the Frank Lloyd Wright Usonian homes. I go to as many as I can. Okay, he was married 3 times, had 8 children. He wasn't a great father, but you know, not many are, I guess. He died on April 9th, 1959 in Phoenix at age 91. It was after surgery. So Frank Lloyd Wright, greatest American architect. If you get a chance to go to one of his homes, they usually give tours, and there's a Frank Lloyd Wright Foundation that helps buy these homes and fix them up and get them ready for touring. So check him out, Frank Lloyd Wright. Go Bengals! They play tonight. They play the Broncos in Denver. I don't expect to win, but you can always hope to. And the Reds play tomorrow in Los Angeles in the playoffs against the dreaded Dodgers. Go Reds!